So ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, this video is first and foremost for informational and educational purposes. And of course, to call out Arise News for their shameless hypocrisy. Now, if you are a content creator, I encourage you to watch this video to the very end, as I will be showing you portions of this law that protects you from harassment from television stations like Arise. So, as a content creator, please be aware that if you dare criticize Arise News or any one of their star anchors, the station could report you to YouTube, asking for your video to be taken down, and of course, you know what happens next once they succeed with that. A YouTube strike follows, and if they continue to report you, you are a couple of strikes away from your channel being permanently deleted by YouTube. I just thought I needed to share that. Now to the crux of today's video. I got this email from YouTube, and for transparency's sake, I have decided to read the entire content to you. So YouTube says in this email, I, Unfiltered with Koinde, will receive the copyright removal request for your video. Based on applicable copyright law, we removed your video from YouTube. And then they went ahead to, list the title of the video. Title of the video listed, the URL of the video, the content used, of course, was Arise News Live broadcast. And then, of course, this is the interesting part. Removal request issued by, no prizes for guessing who that is, Arise News, of course. And then it says, this means that your video can no longer be viewed on YouTube. You received a copyright strike. You have one copyright strike. If you get multiple copyright strikes, we will have to terminate your channel. To prevent that from happening, please don't upload videos containing copyrighted content that you aren't allowed to use. By the way, you only need to get 3 strikes on YouTube for your channel to be deleted. Now, as someone who had worked in the media in Nigeria, I knew straight away where all of this is coming from. More like saying, I was shocked, but not surprised. Now, I guess the most obvious question to ask is this. What exactly is or was my crime? So on this day, during their very popular trending news with Oji, the anchors of the program had picked an interest in this Seun Okinbaloye's viral video. Watch.
First question is Nigeria better today than 2 years ago? Okay, let's go to the second question. Do you think the nation is on the right track with the policies of the Tinubu government? Okay. All right. My third question. Is your hope renewed? No, I've not finished the question. Hold on. I have not finished the questions. Hold on is a longer sentence. Is your hope renewed now, or do you think this government is in touch with the present realities of the average nation? For those who agree say yes, those who disagree say no.
Now, while responding to that video, Dr. Abati has said this.
To respond. Only a minute, because we have to go to the next
show. Not even up to a minute. Without prejudice to all these conversations we've been having about economic reforms and the impact on the people. Now, there's something in journalism called leading questions. When you phrase questions to have a predetermined intended answer.
Yes.
So, and a typical example will be those questions that you showed. When you ask people, do you think hope has been renewed? There are only 2 options.
Yes.
When you ask them, is Nigeria economy better than it? If you were to disaggregate it, then of course there will be room for further reflection or for analysis. So these are trick questions that just lead to one particular answer.
All right.
So we need to be careful about that.
Okay.
So in other words, that may not be a proper reflection of the diverse, disaggregated views of the Nigerian Bar Association.
So it was that Dr. Abati's view that I specifically responded to in my video. Watch. Now, while the question might come across as leading, I do not think Dr. Reuben Abati knows for sure what Seun's intentions were. Because intention also matters. And until we are sure of what his intentions were, it might be wise for us to show restraint. I wasn't at this conference, obviously, but Seun could have been asking those questions because he noticed many of those in attendance here were not in agreement with the submissions of some of the guest speakers. And so he thought it wise to give them some kind of voice. And I don't think there is anything wrong in that. In any case, these lawyers are also Nigerians, and they too must be feeling the economic pressure that majority of Nigerians are feeling. So the suggestion that it tricks them into answering those questions, I think, is disrespectful to the intelligence of these professionals. The reality is, just like we have leading questions in journalism, the profession of law also have what is known as leading questions. So it would be interesting to know if the so-called leading question was from a journalistic perspective or from a legal perspective. So apparently, that view did not go down well with a couple of people on Arise News. Now, if this kind of opinion from a little-known channel, an individual, could drive a television station as big as Arise News to the level where it would shamelessly demand that the video be brought down, your guess is as good as mine what that kind of TV station would do if they own YouTube.
But God is watching. God is watching.
And isn't it sad that a television station that has largely built its reputation on opinion journalism would now turn around to essentially gag the opinions of content creators on social media? So it's okay for anchors and presenters on the station to sit down in air-conditioned studios every morning, essentially criticizing everything and anyone. But it's a no-no for their own activities to come under the spotlight. It's okay to criticize President Tinubu, criticize Peter Obi, criticize Atiku, criticize Nyesom Wike, and even criticize fellow journalists, including Babajide Otitoju, and even more recently, Seun Okinbaloye. But it's not okay to criticize many of their crossover journalists. Truth is, anyone who doesn't want to be criticized should better go and sell ice cream to school children. And to think that this is coming from a station where their anchors are always yapping about not wanting to be gagged makes it even more pathetic. I mean, tell me one station in Nigeria where their anchors and presenters criticize governments and individuals more than Arise News. Tell me the one program on Arise News where objective journalism has been relegated to the background by opinion journalism. And these are the people demanding change, accountability, and free speech in Nigeria every morning. Now, I know I do a lot of controversial stuff on this my channel, and that is why you never see me confront any one of you who disagree with me. And many of you have. In fact, many have called me unprintable names. But you will never catch me fighting or attacking anyone on my channel because of their views, or go as far as deleting dissenting opinions. Because the principle for me is simple: don't give what you cannot take. But I've got a few bad news for Arise News. Unfortunately for them, what I and many content creators do on social media are constitutionally protected under the Nigerian law, specifically under the Nigerian Copyright Act of 2022. And it does look like, even as big as Arise is, they seem not to know that this law exists. So for the purpose of public enlightenment and for the benefit of content creators who may not know, this law right here essentially protects us from what Arise is shamelessly trying to do. So it's a long read. So I'm just going to quickly get to the relevant portions of it as it relates to this subject matter. So specifically under this section 20, there is something called fair dealing, which is the provision that allows the use of copyrighted material or content like this without the need for permission from the copyright owner in specific circumstances. And one of such circumstances is when using such material for all that has been listed here. But this is how this law relates to my own circumstances. So the law, as it applies to me, says here, and as you can see here, one of the circumstances under which a content creator can use materials from stations like Arise is when the objective is for D, and this says here, for criticism, review, or the reporting of current events, subject to the condition that if the use is public, it shall, where practicable, and I want you to pay attention to that phrase, where practicable, be accompanied by an acknowledgement of the title of the work and its author, except, pay attention again, where the work is incidentally included in a broadcast. Now, another interesting part of the law says, provided that in determining whether the use of a work is in any particular case is fair dealing, the factors to be considered shall include purpose and character of its usage, nature of the work, I should say, amount and substantiability of the portion used in relation to the work as a whole. Now, I'm not a lawyer, and I haven't contacted one, as I don't think I need one, unless, of course, Arise TV then decides to further embarrass itself. Then we will take it up from there. But this right here is as straightforward as it gets, and I stand corrected. But from my layman's perspective, I don't think I have violated any portion of this law. Interestingly, I don't think any TV station in Nigeria even copyrights contents like this. And even if they do, this is the law that protects anyone who engages with their materials. Honestly, as someone who worked in the media in Nigeria for quite some time, I am embarrassed. But Arise News can take this to the bank. I am not going to stop using their videos. Neither am I going to stop criticizing some of what they do on that station. And if they don't want me to do so, they had better relocate their station to either China or Russia.